Once again, we're live on the twitch.tv/Xisuma. What's that, a creeper? That creeper be oh, hello. That creeper be creeping. Let's go sleep in a bed. Let's make it daytime. Tickly Turtle in chat says ready woo. Oh, that creeper. Stopping me from... Oh. Still that creeper is creeping. Gotta be careful. One of the things I wanted to do with this build is actually light it up a little bit. Oh, look at that. I mean, they can spawn anywhere here. So let's make it a little more secure, maybe. Put a few torches here and there. This thing's still being worked on, still being decorated, right? Wow, that spot over there looks kind of dark. We've got more bananas in chat from Sir Gemin, Mace Skull, Zora Spinamana, and Spooky Doggy. Thank you for the bananas, lets me know that we're live. EAS68 is here for 30 months. NX Suppert is here for 6. Puppy555 is here for 3. Thank you for your morning subscriptions. See, like, where did you spawn, you know? I wasn't actually trying to get in the pit with you, but here I am. Yeah, looks like, you know, we could do with some lighting like ways up, but that should help with that a little bit. Yeah, so I've noticed like there's been an increase in mobs, sort of. Oh, that might actually be part of the build. An increase in mobs, sort of coming into the base. And I suspect it's this area over here that might be part of the problem. Also, did I just make more? Yeah, maybe just made some more spaces. Like, they can spawn in scaffolding mobs in this update. So they can spawn... Ah! And you can do that. Yeah, they can spawn all over the place here. So yeah, throwing down a few torches for now should hopefully help. Oh, look. See? Look, they're all over here. We found the spot. Oh, gosh. And then down here, too. Stop shooting at me. I'm just trying to make the place safer to live. Jeez, okay. Alright, seems to be pretty good. Then there's this spot over here. It's where stuff's been built up above that then down below it becomes a little more susceptible. Nah, wait, I'm reading it wrong, aren't I? Look. Of course all of that area can. Right, anyway, enough of that, that'll do. Just a little bit of that I need to do at the beginning here. Welcome to everyone tuning in, saying hello in the chat. Hello to you all. We're on Empires again, and all these builds, yeah. Skulk everywhere at the moment. Skulk everywhere. Let's chop a little bit of tree while people tune in. I think Cubfan needs a lot of birch wood, so we'll drop this off. And hopefully he can make use of it. FW Kiwis here for 11 months. Dofus230 is here for 13. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Xisuma. Is there a command for me that check what mods you have in your folder, says George Felice. There is not such a command. However, for Hermitcraft, there is a sort of, I guess, official what I use on Hermitcraft mod pack. I made a whole video about it, right? Should go check that video out. Tunker out says, hey X, good morning from Argentina. Rainy but really hot day. Hoping I can get a bike ride in the afternoon. Awesome. I've done my exercise for the day. Last couple of days, haven't eaten as much. Done lots of exercise, and then today, like on a well and truly fasted belly, walked just shy of 11,000 steps in, I think about almost 100 minutes. I just decided when I woke up, I was like, I'm just going to go for a really long walk. And about 5,000 steps is when I really started to feel the crunch, but then I got like the second wind and just kept going. Pretty good. Enjoyed it. Nice day outside. Over here it's just like very cold but very clear. The sun's out, but good weather. Good weather for a walk. We do have a command on Twitch to link to your mod pack. There you go, Spokey's on it. Chapter Corey, thank you for 28 months. I need to replant these saplings over here, don't I? that's something important. I thought I'd play a little Izuku music today. Just, I'm aware there's, you know, new peeps watching at the moment from the Empires community. Thought I'd, you know, put on something I haven't put on in a while. Maybe you'll find some cool new music. I would go for a walk/run, but it's 4:30 and 25 outside. So yeah, no, says Ebony the Sponge. Well, you don't have to go for a run. You can always wrap up and go for a walk. I do really enjoy walks in the winter weather, actually. I think it's the transitional seasons that I struggle with the most. Like, when it's cold and you get used to it, and you can wrap up warm and go for a nice walk on a day when it's not raining, it's really quite nice. And then I love like walking in the evening in summer. You know, shorts and shirt. It's always the transitional seasons. You know, when you're not quite sure what you can do. Is it snowy in the UK already, says Maker Street? It's like, it snows here once, if you're very lucky, twice a year. And when I say that, I mean like a day. Like, we do not get a lot of snow. Well, that's there now. I'll let it do its thing. God, this skulk stuff's quite concerning. And do you know what I've been doing it late? I've just been like, yeah, I'll just chuck all these random blocks into these shulker boxes lying around. We're going to do some on-the-fly building today. Over in this space. Going to take care of these two bits. Not sure quite what we're going to do. I think I'd like to bring back this pallet for the lower bit. And then for the higher bit, I was going to do something wooden again, but I've got a feeling the contrast might be better suited to the higher bit, and then just do something different altogether over there. I should have actually pretty much all the materials I need in my backpack at this point. I love those renamed ender pearls, they're so much fun. Is there something specific to extremes like the X time thing? I got no idea what you're asking, Turtle Burger. I mean, can you have a turtle burger? I guess turtle can be meat, right? Evil Cub's gonna wind up getting the whole community service. Why don't you mine all the skulk? I have been! It's hard to keep up with. My whole thing was getting rid of it, and then I logged back on and it was all back again. Okay, so there's some of the materials. There's the rest, I think. I've been doing a lot of building all over the place, so I've got like multiple pallets at this point. So yeah, this bit's going to be like we saw before. Now, little bits like here for breeding the villagers. Kind of needs a connection somewhere. I don't know where. I think Impulse might have made a mistake here, like wrapping this thing around. I think it might have made more sense just to go in a straight line and use up all that space, but whatever. Like, I mean, he's taking care of that, so no big deal, really. But I was just looking at all this space earlier and just thinking about how it all connects. And yes, all look! It's just, it goes everywhere. It's terrible. So we'll probably have the red mangrove and this stuff go all the way back here and then build something in that space. So I think what I'll do is I'll put it there. Going across. The long con of the skulk is either genius or infamous. I mean, aren't those two things, can't they be like the same? Or, like, can't you be a infamous genius? No, it doesn't sound to me like those two things are opposed. Maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. We have this problem a lot. I read messages in chat and there's like not enough information for me to understand. Like, what are we talking about? Best way to spend my Sunday morning, says Ming Sample. You see, like, what is the best way? I have no idea what you mean. Best way to spend. What are you doing? Running, exercising? I know, I'm messing with you. I know, that was a very nice message. Thank you very much. I mean, or maybe... No, maybe I'm being presumptuous. Oh, you just think they're... Maybe they're here after a wonderful Sunday morning, and now they're like... And now comes the decline. I'm watching an Xisuma stream. It'll never be as good as it once was. Am I out of dark... I think I'm out of dark oak wood. I could have swore, though, that I just... There it is. There it is. Never mind. Haha. Don't worry, X. Your mods are answering our questions. Thank goodness for the mods. Thank goodness for the mods. Hey, X, have you considered playing Undertale, or is it something I missed? Nah, probably not going to play Undertale. I've been putting my spare time as of late into doing music and stuff, and it's interesting. It's interesting. Like last night, I spent a couple of hours sort of dilly-dallying and doing some bits and bobs, but not really like getting anywhere. Like every now and then, I get into it, and like great stuff happens or whatever. Making bits of songs and having fun, enjoying it, and then. Whereas of late, I've been able to dedicate a bit more time to it. Like, it's kind of like the inspiration isn't there first, and I'm all about like inspiration, like the cycle, motivation, and action. So, like, I go into it with action first, and when I go into it with action first, I don't really get anywhere. It's like I kind of goofed around, adding some things to some songs, changing some stuff up, experimenting a bit, but like. I don't know, I didn't like catch on to something and just like follow it and write an entire song or anything like I would normally do. So I was thinking like, well, if I'm gonna have time to work on my music, what do I have to do? I think what I want to do is like get a bunch of like other little tasks set up, like getting more familiar with the software again, like little exercises that I could do, like learn how to use different parts of program, and like just if you're gonna take action, you need a plan. I think is what I'm getting at. Like inspiration's great because you just dive into whatever the inspiration is and follow it. Major often said a crash course in VST/plugins last night. Brain tired. Yeah, I need to like get back into understanding all the plugins and other things about production and whatnot. But yeah, it just made me realise, like, okay, if I'm going to dedicate time for this, it's not always like you're just going to be inspired and figure stuff out. Like, you need a plan of action, basically. Kiri was also taken. Is here for 3 months. Thank you for your subscription. Appreciate it. I'm drinking some decaf coffee now. Carl says, yeah, but sometimes jamming and playing around brings out the best ideas. It does, but like sometimes like you do that and nothing happens as well. And that was certainly what happened yesterday, just like trying a bunch of little experiments and things. I don't know, it just didn't really, like, nothing clicked or went anywhere. And so I thought, well, I kind of need to come out of that situation with like some form of growth. Where I can be like, alright, things aren't working, now I'm going to pivot into, I don't know, like learning mode. Like, let's learn how to use this plugin, let's learn how to use that thing. I just didn't have that, like, mindset. Because I'm weird, it's like... Ooh, I can't find the other type of deep slate. Is there some here? Surely there's some here. Ah, whatever, this, we won't use it around here. Make our life simple. Yeah, when I... How can I describe this? When I have, like, immediate downtime in front of me, like, you know, finish my videos, I don't have to do a stream or anything, like there's... When I'm in that... Hang on, what am I doing here? Oh, I see. That more, like, free time space. If I don't have a plan of what I'm doing, I really struggle to just do nothing. Like, I really struggle to just be, like, casual about it. Oh, you know, I'll watch the telly. I feel like I need to be productive. And then when I step into something that's supposed to be creative and it's not working, like, that can sort of, like, I don't know, work against me mentally. I don't even know what I'm saying. I think I'm just like letting off my worries or whatever. Free time is uncomfy, busy time is exhausting, says Squash. Yeah, but I like the busy time, you know? I like being busy. I love how you had one day without inspiration and immediately take it as an important life lesson, says Two Spring. That's an interesting way of framing it. A little on the grandiose side for my own thinking. But yeah, no, you're right. You're like, I did just like pivot to like, what can I learn from this? And that's what we should do with all perceived failures. You know, I say failure, bit dramatic. I didn't consider it a failure. As of late, I've sort of been deliberately... Well, how did that happen? I'm building in the wrong place. I've been deliberately like more reluctant. Reluctant? I can't find the right words. I've been easier on myself. I haven't been so critical. I'm like, I keep encountering these sort of, I don't know. Like I've let my foot off the productivity pedal, if you like. Because I think you only have so much energy for it, and then it's really easy to like beat yourself up when you got like free time and you don't have a plan or whatever, right? So yeah, I've been kind of easy on myself lately, but yeah, like learning a lesson from it was the key thing. It was like, all right, so that didn't go so well, and I think previously I may have catastrophized a little bit and thought, oh no, lost time, right? You'll never get it back, that kind of thing. But I think what's important about that type of thinking is just to maybe not take it too seriously all the time. Like, factor in, yeah, there'll be days where you're not 100% and you know, you're not productive, and that's okay. That's part of life too. Because otherwise you just go into this crazy place where it's like you just want to be 110% productive all the time. That's what I was like a few years back. In fact, I think when I was playing guitar, that was probably when I was most 110%. Because I took what was supposed to be like my relief or relaxation from the productivity, you know, following your inspiration, playing an instrument, and then just started drilling it. Just started, you know, turning every day into like a 2-hour guitar session where I'm drilling techniques and, you know, trying to get better and better as fast as I can, and it's just all a bit mad. Go with the flow, says Terra Wolfie. Yeah, go with the flow, but have that plan in place for what the flow is. If you feel like doing this, you feel like that, like make sure there's a good idea what you're going to do. Otherwise, you know, you could dilly-dally like I did and not really get much done. Anyway, it's a learning lesson. And y'all can enjoy my absolute overthinking of absolutely everything all the time. That's what I do here. I just overthink. The Arctic Viking is gifting subs to a whole bunch of peeps. I see some familiar names here. The Viking Dane, Challenge the Sensei, Cosmic Dragon Eternus, Riff Raff and K-Dads. Be sure to say thanks in the chat. Y'all already subscribers over here. Codex of the Stars, I'm X Shoko, Samodivia, Mock Frog, Shade Racer. Be sure to say thanks in the chat. Y'all be gifted subs too. The Arctic Viking, thank you so much for supporting our community. Chat, any pertinent messages in... Sorry, mods, if there's any pertinent messages in chat, feel free to share them with me on the side of my screen, where they can send me messages. We should switch to some conversation, I think. X, do you go to the gym, and what's your opinion about going? I pretty much do exercise every day. I'm a very... like, I don't like being... What's the word? Stationary is one word. I like to be active. I like to move about. And there are immense benefits to exercise and keeping yourself in shape. Mental health, physical health. They work in tandem a lot of the time. Sedentary, says Zen. Zen, you have found the word that I am looking for. It's why I'm not much of a gamer, or I don't really identify it as being a gamer. Like I'm all about the creative pursuit when I'm in this environment. Ooh, I've skipped Tough. Tough goes next. because like playing games is like a lot of the time just sitting on your bum. And I like to be creative. I like to move about as well. So I'm more incentivized to, with my time, exercise a lot, be active, and explore like creative pursuits. Excuse me. Right, we've got a lot of gifted subs coming through. Goodness me. I've got to press that emote button. I should have pressed it already. Let's read some of these. There's a lot. The Guyan, thank you for gifting a sub to Ultimate Wager. And peeps, if you hear your name being read out loud, be sure to say thanks in that chat. Alex Darling with 20 gifted subs. Goodness me, thank you so much. Appreciate your generosity. Richard Salter 11, Daniel Sintar, Freezerman 39, Calandry Ann, Otter City, Obscene Sanity, Izzy Wanderer, Tree Twiggity, Mole Wobbles, McWoods, Axtra, Truvial Stritch, Tilly the Hun, Cookie Dough Nut 1, Scotsman UK, Shenza Rick, Slob Rob, Charles the First Step Pixel, City Kitty Light, Golden gifted subs, Curls of Doom gifting a sub to Alex Darling, gifting the gifters. Love the attitude there. And Liger, thank you for gifting a sub to Arslan Gamer. Oh, Liger, by the way, I was going to mention, I was, in our conversation, I was hoping to get another message back from you, if that were clear. Maybe I misunderstood what you were sending me. I saw you shared a video this morning, and I just wondered if you'd got my last message or not. Thank you for gifting the sub also. Jericho says, what are your thoughts on the World Cup in Qatar? I think it's a very controversial World Cup for, you know, rightful reasons. There seems to be a lot of... Where's my bed? It's probably down here. There's been a lot of journalism covering like corruption, scandals, workers' rights, you know, workers are dying. I'm just, you know, I'm not making an effort to watch. When the World Cup comes around, when it does, like, I always try and make an effort to watch games and enjoy it. Same with the Olympics. But this time I'm just like, nah. And, you know, if I'm out and about, seeing friends, other people are watching the game, you know, I'm not going to huff and puff, I'll watch, but for the most part, I think I'm just going to kind of like check out a fair bit and not really pay much attention to it. I'll have to wait another 4 years for a World Cup. It's just so concerning, all the things that have taken place around this tournament. And I'm hoping that, you know, maybe lower viewership is a way that a message can be sent, because money talks and whatnot. What's your skin, Xisuma, besides the pirate stuff? Who created the skin, and are you doing a face reveal? Oh yeah, I'm doing a face reveal tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. You know, keep your eyes peeled. But, sorry, I should be a little clearer, right? I'm doing a face reveal in public, so I'm going to walk outside without wearing my screen mask. So if you happen to be where I am, then be on the lookout for that face reveal. Sorry, it wasn't quite clear there, was I? Now let's go grab. Oh, the block I want was probably in my backpack. But now that we're here, I literally just need like that. Emily and Nort, thank you for subscribing. We've got Scottish Racer 98 resubscribing for 2 months. We've got It's Kel McCow 83 for 3 months, and the Guyan is gifting another sub to Freevilla30org. These names, hey, these names. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the gifted sub. And yeah, thank you. You have a face, says Eros is bored. I have a face, yeah. Can you believe it? I can't. Let's put that dirty mud down here. Hey X, have you considered using more sarcasm? Seems a good way to make jokes, says Amelia Nort. Sarcasm? What's that? I mean, I'm not much of a joke person, am I? I mean, I'm never riffing on anyone for the things they say in my chat. So, I don't know. I'll look into it, this sarcasm thing. I'll give it some research, shall I? I'll do my own research, which will probably be of terrible quality because I've never been educated in how to do proper research. I just type the exact thing I want to hear into the old Google. That's what I do. Hey, Google, tell me I'm right. That's proper research, isn't it? I think it is. I think that's the way you do proper research. You ask Google to tell you something you already know. I mean, it's not like there could be multiple conflicting sources of information, right? Surely whatever I type into Google will give me the right answer. Good strategy, says Krapanoots. I've probably butchered your name. Definitely. Good strategy, isn't it? Rachel Sommer, thank you for 4 months. Appreciate ya. I thought you did research on TikTok, says Becca. I don't go near TikTok. But I have a TikTok, some of you say, I know. Right, that is me finishing off my decaf, if you're wondering. I try to limit myself to 1 a day. They're so nice. We should take a step out. Oh, so I never finished that bit, but that's all. It's all looking pretty good so far. Let's try something a little different on this side, I was just thinking. Like maybe no mud. Oh wait, we've got to go one further back. Like maybe no mud on this one. Just replace that. And then over on this side, yeah, I need some of that wall as well. See, we've got that still here somewhere. There it is, a little difficult to fish out. What is your opinion on people using a tea bag multiple times? Do you mean like making a cup of tea with a tea bag, letting it go cold and then making another cup of tea later? I've never heard of that. I've never even considered it, so it sounds kind of gross, but like, I don't know, maybe it can be done. I almost feel like I need to say, I should give that a try, but I kind of feel like I don't want to give that a try. It does sound a bit odd. Right, then I reckon oh, what are we doing on the back here? Like, let's take care of what's going on over here. You should give honey in your tea a try. I don't think I'll bother because I don't like tea when it's sweet. I mean, sugar just ruins the taste of tea for me. I kind of like it bitter. So I don't think I want to try honey. And then there's that bit there. What you need now is like a couple of lights just hung off somewhere here. Stop things from spawning. I want some of them. Also, I really need some scaffolding. Like, why do I not have scaffolding on me? X, have you ever played Bed Wars? Says Erinus the Destroyer. Dang. Is this the real Xisuma? Says Rod Appeal. Is it the real Xisuma? I've got a feeling this is. If I'm not the real Xisuma, I'm very concerned. Like it says, there's a fake Xisuma. Yeah, there's a fake Xisuma, right? Who's got a crypto and can 10x your investment overnight. Whatever those scams going around in YouTube comments are, I don't know. There's always something new there. Oops. Do you know what? You can just stay there. What I was going to do was make some carpets. This top bit. I figured that'll stop things from spawning, right? Cool. Thoughts on Death, says the guy in it. Really great band. Really great band. Love a lot of their records. What's the one with Bite the Pain? That's probably my favourite. And the one before it, with Crystal Mountain on. Those two are great records. Pull the Plug's a really great song. Let's go... Let's go find some... There they are, andesite walls. So, right, if we just whiz back around to over here, we're going to add those bits. Iron bars, chains, a few andesite blocks, iron trapdoors. You can see I've got all the materials from where I did this before. But we've got some blocks of iron over here. Where's my... do I have a crafting bench? There it is. How to get out of the Hermitcraft addiction, says Tickle Turtle. The key is you don't. The key is you don't. Right, I'm also thinking down the bottom we want to do some of the mangrovey stuff, right? Shall we shift gears into conversation? By the way, the Guyan is here gifting a sub to Crochet Killer. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for killing those crochets. Don't know what crochets are. Sounds like that sport, crochet or whatever. Conversation time. Last time we had a conversation, I was talking about the Ancient Apocalypse series on Netflix. Some people suggested that I should go look up some counter-arguments to what were being expressed there. And I gotta say, like, I'm really glad that I did that, because what I found was rather enlightening. This Graham Hancock guy has got some really good arguments, I think. Like, sort of highlighting how a lot of people believe things are one way until, you know, something shifts and it goes the other way. Like, the idea that the world is flat, or that the universe revolves around us, and then in shifting over the consensus on those beliefs, you know, it's there's a lot of back and forth and battling, and you know, and eventually this other idea wins out. So he uses this argument a lot that, you know, like, people dismiss me because my ideas are radical, but if you look at history, like, there's, you know, radical ideas eventually become the norm. And he claims that there's like an archaeological bias that's against him, that's discounting his work because it's not part of the status quo, which sounds good when he's saying that on his lonesome, because when I went and did some research, immediately it became quite clear that people actually do engage him on his own topics and dispute them fairly. I found quite a few videos and commentaries of people taking what he's saying at face value and walking through his arguments, pointing out where they're strong, where they're not, and then going over scientific data and pointing out the weak spots and how he misuses some data and whatnot. And it just kind of made me realize, no, like, there is a conversation taking place around this, and he's using this argument of there isn't a conversation, people are just ruling me out or whatever. It was really quite eye-opening, and I gotta say, it kind of made my opinion of the things he's saying shift. And there were like some red flags when I was listening to these podcasts with him. One of them being when he started talking about world leaders, he goes, "Oh, they're all just arseholes, they're horrible, they're ruining the planet." And I'm just like, that's a very unnuanced, overly simplistic, and I don't know, doomish, doom and gloom kind of way of thinking about how the world works. And I feel like, you know, there's a bit of a red flag, because it's like, well, that kind of thinking isn't helpful. It doesn't really lead anywhere. And it's just overly simplistic and reductive. And then now I'm starting to see that other parts of his arguments have the same properties of portraying something to be a particular way when actually it's not that simple. There are people out there that engage him on his work and dispute it. And yeah, I just felt like he's got a bit of a narrative that he's existing within. A lot of historians think they have the facts, a lot like the other current truther movement or Tarashia movement, but most of these people do not do real research, says DB Tongue. You know, I can be no authority on saying if someone's research is real or not, and when I watch these opinions or videos critiquing this guy, I take it with a pinch of salt. Again, I'm listening to a narrative and whatnot, but the way in which he initially presents some of his arguments seem really legit and good, and then listening to these other people, they highlighted the weak points in his arguments, and that often seemed quite reasonable too, which kind of led me to the conclusion of, like, this again, what's healthier is having people of opposing sides work together through conversation, as opposed to just being in your own little echo chamber, being siloed off from an alternative opinion, because then you can just spout these narratives over and over again. So yeah, anyway, my takeaway is, like, I have a lot more skepticism now, and just a reminder again to, like, always look up those alternative opinions. As I said, there were some red flags for me, some things that he said where I'm like, this kind of thinking I can tell is just not good on this topic. So like, if you're doing the same thing with all this archaeology stuff, then this isn't very credible. Lucro says, Graham Hancock, I believe... Oh, right. No, Lucro was asking who we're talking about. Graham Hancock, a journalist who's hosting Ancient Apocalypse on Netflix. Yeah, not an archaeologist, a journalist. Unfortunately, that line of thinking is common for contrarian speakers. They will present views from a positive and the enemy's view as pure evil. Yes, that's what he was doing with the archaeology thing. He was painting the archaeology community as sort of being evil, not paying attention to his work, just dismissing it, and yet you can go into that community and find people in it who are engaging with his work and explaining to him what's wrong with it. So I found his argument to end up being rather dishonest because of that. Or perhaps, you know, not dishonest, but just, you know, he's caught up in a particular way of seeing things, you know. And again, another great reason why, like, conversation is better, having people of different opinions together, because, like, the principle should be to sort of strongman each other's positions, right? Bring out the best. But by doing that, you know, you show how complex many situations are, and you get less into this sort of, like, polarized, it's my way or your way sort of thinking, right? Like the left and the right and the us or them. That stuff is dangerous, I think. And when you work together, you can find solutions where there is opposition. I don't know who this Graham guy is, but I shall sit here and act like I do. Like I do about all my problems, says Cozy Cottage. Hey, like acknowledging ignorance is important too. It's good to say, I don't know. Someone might then be able to help you. Any thoughts on Jordan Peterson's masculinity today, says Kira Goes. I haven't really followed what he's been saying, so I can't really comment on that. I did see one video clip of him crying, which, I mean, when someone cries, like, it's not something to laugh at, but there is, the way at least it's presented, there is this kind of, like, I don't know, just odd uncomfortableness about hearing someone cry about masculinity. I don't know. Again, maybe it's the way it's framed, right? Like you get sent a clip, you don't see the whole picture. But it certainly was an odd one. My thing with how I've seen masculinity portrayed and talked about is that this idea of toxic masculinity goes around, and I think it gets misunderstood as all masculinity is toxic, which I do not believe it is. I believe it can become toxic, right? Because again, the world's not black and white. It's not as simple as just this thing, that thing. So, you know, like it's more interesting to observe the behaviors of masculinity playing out in the world, and then rationally assessing what that means, what its implications are, etc. Because no two situations are going to be identical, and you will find that masculinity can be somewhat toxic in some environments, but it's not all masculinity. This probably a better way of relating this is something I was thinking about recently. There's like, so politically speaking, left and right opposed to one another. There's often this idea on the right of sort of pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, you know, like if things aren't right around you or whatever, it's up to you to make a difference. And then on the left you have a much more socialized look at things like that, where it's like, you know, what's society's role in this, you know, like the environment determines these things. And so on one side it becomes very about they get pushed to the extreme. It's all like freedom, personal responsibility, you know, if something horrible happens to you, it's your fault. And then on the other end it goes to the extreme of like what's the extreme at the other end? You know, like everything is someone else's fault, and there should be social programs to help people at every difficulty in their life or whatever. And it's weird how people get sort of like pulled into those two camps of thinking one way or the other, rather than seeing like what's the merit of each side, right? And it's pretty simple. Like in life, things are going to happen to you where externalities will put you in unfavorable positions. And in situations like that, it's easy to sort of see that things aren't always about your own actions, and that externalities can totally change and influence your life. And in those areas, that's where you need those externalities to not have such a drastic effect on one's well-being. But at the same time, there are totally merits to having an individualist attitude towards how you can change your own existence. Like, how do you respond to externalities that put you in unfavorable positions, right? It's not all one or the other, and so many things just get pulled into that. Like, I don't think you can expect society like to take care of all of your needs just because you're alive, and you know, blame it on the system or whatever, right? And then the inverse is true too. It's not all about you and your own actions. Like, it's always a bit of both. Almighty Rourke says, if you avoid simplification, populism, you need to acknowledge many truths are incredibly complex. The only way to respect complexity is in long, in-depth analysis. Hardly anyone does that. Absolutely. Caitlin says, masculinity in itself isn't toxic. Sometimes it's an excuse for being toxic. Sometimes it's a contributing factor, but it's not usually the catalyst. Yeah, I don't know how to frame it in terms of excuse. I mean, I feel like I don't engage in behavior that needs excusing. Like, I always try and do what's right. But I'm never like really in any I don't know, air quotes, masculine environments or whatever. Like, certain cultures tend to attract those sorts of traits, I guess. What are we doing here, by the way? I think it looks alright. I was going to put iron bars on top. And then we'll throw in a few more andesite blocks, and then I think we're probably pretty good. We probably need like a light source up the top here or two. What's interesting is the origin of pull yourself up by your bootstraps was to refer to a ludicrous / impossible task. Yeah, whatever its origins are though, we know what people mean when they say it now. So like, it's what worries me. Okay, there's actually a good example of this. Really good example of this. And when I've tried to talk about it before, it's very tricky to express this incorrectly, right? But I thought about it a lot, and I feel like I know how to express it, right? Like there is a housing crisis for this generation of young people. Many of you watching will probably, if you're young, maybe you don't own a home. You might feel like you're never able to because of the way the world is right now, and that things need to change. And what I have often commented on with this is my own personal experience of having been told that and then finding out it wasn't true, because I now own a home. Now, this was years ago, right? Years and years, so it's not the current crisis. It feels like there's always someone saying there's a crisis, and you know, it depends how much in proximity to that you are. If you're like out there and you just don't engage with political stuff, then you might not be thinking of home ownership in terms of a crisis or not. But the point being is that while there is clearly statistically a problem that needs solving in many parts of the world, it's not the same for every single person, because we are not all equal in our situations. And so I try and make this point of like, be careful with this, because if you tell yourself and convince yourself of something, you might then not end up taking the actions that lead you to getting there, which is what I did. I lived a lot of my early life being told, you'll never own a home, you know, society's rigged, la 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 la, and I didn't develop much of a work ethic. I didn't save money, I just spunked it all away every time I got a paycheck. And it took a few like shifts and realities in my life to change my behavior. And once my behavior changed, one of those was losing a job with a paycheck, like the biggest paycheck I'd ever got. And my mind was all like, yeah, we're gonna go out and party, and I'll buy loads of booze and stuff like that. And then my brain was like, this is the last of this money, like there's not gonna be more. And I realized, oh, I can't spend this because I don't know when the next amount is coming in. So that totally like shifted my behavior with my money, and I started saving like all the time. Every time I got a paycheck from wherever I was working, like the amount of money I had saved just had to increase. Like, maybe I didn't think of it quite as straightforward as that, but that's what I just ended up doing. I just kept saving. And I wasn't thinking I'm saving to buy a house, but that's ended up what I was able to do, right? So the point that I'm making here is not that, oh, you just need to cancel your Netflix subscription and save. That's not it at all. But it is that both of these things are on a rope together. They push and pull in different directions. So depending on where you are in the world, it might be more of, hey, the situation around you is really tough. Or, like me, you might actually be in a situation where it isn't as far-fetched as you think it is. And so, to get pulled into like one way of looking at it or another, one being like, oh, you know, the system's rigged, the housing crisis needs fixing by the government or something, I'm just going to live my life like normal and someone else is going to fix it for me. That's like one extreme. And the other is, oh, it's all up to me, I've got to go out, I've got to get a second job, I've got a third job, I'm going to save up, and inflation's going to ruin my savings, but then one day I'll get there. Right, those are the two extremes, and it's never just one or the other. And this is why I think it's important that you learn about things in this way, because it might enlighten you to your own situation and realize there's actually more I can do for myself in this situation, right? And there might not be. There might not be a lot. You might already be doing the best you can. But I just worry about people getting sucked into these narratives that tell you the world's rigged and there's nothing you can do about it, when you do have agency as a human being to go out into the world and do things. Housing was just an example. There's other ways in which information out there can make you feel like you can't participate in something, or it's rigged, or it's all just unfair, when maybe it's not. I mean, it's never completely fair. There's no such thing as complete fairness. But I just hate the idea of people getting roped into like self-defeat, which is what I was in, not realizing that's not actually my situation. I think there are many people living in those extremes, more in the middle. I can criticize the system and still have agency for myself, says Kirigos. Depends, you know, like we wanna like say something like that. It sounds pretty reasonable, but it does depend. Like the way I look at the housing prices today, it was obviously clearly on average tougher than it was for me then. I don't know if I would have been able to afford it as I did when I got my house sorted out, right? Like, it is different from what it was before. But yeah, like, there will be some things that the argument I'm making applies to, where it isn't like most people are in the middle. Sometimes it is a case of, actually, this is affecting a lot of people. Like the cost of living crisis right now appears to be something affecting like a heck of a lot of people. It's as that message we have before. If you avoid simplification, you need to acknowledge many truths are incredibly complex. The only way to respect complexity is long depth analysis. So again, it's like, if you want to just apply this idea of most things are in the middle, and not so many people are on the extremes, could be true, but like, you need that in-depth analysis to the particular thing you're pertaining it to understand it. You don't have to save the world, just make what changes you can. Take back control of your life where you can, and you'll be surprised how much of a difference you can make. Yeah, a lot of what I'm saying pertains not to the world, but to taking control of your own life, for sure. Philn Rios, thank you for 15 months of support. We also had another gifted sub from the Gaian to Game Planner. Appreciate you gifting that sub. I'm totally behind on these noises in the ear. I'm going to switch to standing. Uod5 says, I wasn't with you on this when you first started this point, but you've won me over. I think though you need to have a little balance. While it may not be as bad as doom and gloom as you would think, it is still awful, and just because you can't you're managed doesn't mean you shouldn't advocate for change. Oodle, that is absolutely a point that I just didn't get around to. Like, in saying all of this, I'm also not saying like it's oh, there isn't really a problem, right? There is a problem with the housing crisis. There does need to be change. We do need to make housing more accessible for people. The but is just that, in knowing all of that, don't let that override your own agency to make a difference in your life. And hydrate and drink lots of water. I mean, imagine two people. Both of them agree there's a housing crisis. As a result, one person never saves, miserable about it all the time, chooses not to do anything. The other person says, even though there's a crisis, I'm going to try and put money away. I'm going to, you know, spend some time looking for savings accounts and, I don't know, coupons and deals. Like, I'm going to try and make this work the best I can. You know, who becomes more likely to end up in a home? The person that's taking the actions that make them more likely. That's the sort of crux of the point, really. It's just, I hope people don't get sort of caught up in the one side of seeing things. I've got to build this bit here too, by the way. This bit needs to be a bit of a contrast. I think we might... let's sleep in the bed. I put away all the things, and the next thing I've got to build is like right next door. Uod says, good point, well made, thanks for a different perspective. Yeah, and thank you for chipping in your thoughts as well. That was an important bit that I didn't get around to. %of the UK aren't in the position to have the luxury to put savings away through at the moment, says Drazarek. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where that statistic comes from or how accurate it is, but let's, like, if we just take it as is and say, okay, that's the truth and what we're going to talk about, like, yeah, that is an absolute problem, right? But in hearing that, this is the thing that I'm always concerned of. In hearing that, like, that can shape your perception. You might think I'm part of that 20% when you might not be. And I just make this point as, like, having gone through that myself, not realizing, having been told that there was a housing crisis and all of this, and I'll never afford to have a house, it totally shaped my behaviour, and for the worse. And I'm very fortunate that, in a way, I can be fortunate that I lost that job. I mean, like, if I'm happy with where I am now, which I am, I love what I do now, this job is just incredible. And, you know, very blessed to be able to do what I do. Other things set you on the path to get there, don't they? So, like, losing that job turned out to be pretty, I don't know, like, things aren't, like, directly related, like, it's lose this job and then you'll win the lottery, like, it's not like that. But it does make you think, like, if I hadn't lost that job, things could have just played out incredibly differently. Maybe not for the better. But one thing's for sure, the way it changed my attitude to money, definitely, you know, enabled me to become a homeowner. Couldn't have done it, because I wouldn't have changed my behaviour. I'd have never saved up money. Right, so I reckon... See, I know what's going to be built over in this area, and I think we're just... If we just were to stick with the whole mishmashing idea... still not quite sure what I want to do. I think I need to look at a material and go, oh, actually, now I know. Now I know. Packed mud turned into mud bricks. We haven't done this round the base. So let's just replace this shape with that, and that'll be super simple. Occasionally we'll put in some of this too. There you go, and now we can get started on this one. Ah, the what ifs that didn't happen never fails to make you wonder, says PG Petch. Yeah, and you know, asking the what ifs can sometimes become quite dark. Dark's not quite the right word. Like, someone in chat will be bright enough to like clock on to what I'm trying to say, so I'm going to look out for your message. But like, it can put you into almost like a state of anxiety of like all the different things that you could do with your time. There's like a word for this, and it's just not coming to me. Spiraling. Yeah, spiraling sort of describes maybe what being in the moment is, but I'm sure there's like this one word for it. Daunting? Existential crisis. That's it. Like the existential crisis of overthinking all the what ifs and could be's. Right? Like you can go down sort of rabbit hole of what if I'd have done this, what if I'd have done that. Not just for events that you've done in your life, but also the things that you haven't done. Like, what if, you know, like the world basically offers you infinite possibilities, yet you only get to pick so many of them, right? And it's easy for that to feel negative, like you're missing out on, or you're doing something wrong, or you're making a bad decision because there's so many other things you can do. But the act of having a choice to begin with is a miracle. It's an absolute... Like, you've won the lottery by being alive. Like, that's the winning ticket right there. Like, that you get to experience this at all. So yeah, like, there's a million places you could travel to. There's 101 different interests you could have, and hobbies, and things you could partake in. Right? Like, every decision you make rules out a million other decisions that you can no longer make, right? Now you can think about it in one way that's like really anxious, anxiety inducing of like, I'll never get to do all of these things or those things. But you might forget that like, without life you didn't get to choose anything to begin with. Like, The fact that you have choices is the miracle. Is the miraculous thing. So this is like a framing, right? Framing of how you think about things, and I like to ask that, you know, what are the positives? Are there positive ways of seeing this? Because I used to be the sort of person that would just like get into a funk and a mood about like all this stuff that I could do that I haven't done or whatever, and then at some point it all sort of changed, and it's like, hang on a minute, like you actually get to choose to begin with. So like, it's like a choice paralysis for missing out on something. Fear of missing out, FOMO, that's what we're talking about. Like, the FOMO of possibilities that you could do at your time. Yeah, there's 1,000,001 things you could do. And you'll only get to do 10 of them, right? And then that can make you all upset and moody about it, like go into that weird space. But like, it's a miracle to begin with. Oh, X was an emo kid, it sounds like, says Xisuma. I wasn't an emo kid. When I was growing up, it was really sad, but like in the alternative world, like being a metalheads hated emos. And I remember going to a Download Festival, and there was just all these acts of violence against emos for just being into their little emo thing. And I just thought it was so sad. I was almost like gunning for it to like happen where we were and do something about it, but like by the time we went back next year it was kind of over. But yeah, that was like I think it was like the first or second download that we went to that there was all this violence against emo kids. Based on what Bannon's just written, I, as a metalhead, did not hate emos. Me and my mates would probably joke about that stuff or whatever, but like when it was real and happening in front of you, it just totally not on, totally not cool. Like a bit of jokiness about different cultures, you know, stuff that you're not into, that happens, that's fine. But like, it's different when all of a sudden, you know, what were they doing? They were like dragging kids out of their tents and like setting their stuff on fire, and it was really pathetic and not right behaviour over just something so trivial. It's just like, just let them be. No need for this. Jesus, says May School. I realise as I'm saying it out loud, like how in today's world, like, and the language of today's world, like really emphasises how rubbish this stuff was. But do you want to know how we learned about this stuff happening? People were sharing videos on YouTube of it and laughing about it. In fact, if you want to go search Download Festival 2007, I think it was pretty bad, you know, emos, you'll probably find videos of like people getting dragged around in sleeping bags and stuff out of their tents in the night. And this behaviour is utterly unacceptable. But back then, like, it didn't make a big controversy. And now, saying it out loud again, it kind of sounds like the sort of thing that would be like, God, this would like not be on today, right? Like, people would be out and about saying this can't happen. But yeah, that happened, right? Coma Dust Fire says humans are the worst. I don't think humans are the worst. I think the good and the bad exists in all of us. And this is what happens in crowds sometimes. You can get carried away in the moment in bad ideas. You got to remember, people were intoxicated, doing all sorts of drugs at these festivals. Like, it is not a place of normal behaviour. I'm not speaking from a place of excusing. I'm speaking from a place of like thinking about what this means and analysing it. Like, it says something about human behaviour in crowds when under the influence of drugs and stuff. Emo kids were very new to what seemed to be a very established culture during the noughties. Such a shame, as the Mosher Goth skater community were already very bullied. A lot of ordinary people, you'd think they'd be more accepting. Absolutely, yeah. And interesting, like moshers, metalheads, goths, skaters all seem to get along, but then for emo kids, they were treated differently. And you're absolutely right. Like, as someone who was in that community as sort of like an outsider who was bullied, like, seeing that happen to them, to me, was just like, oh, just utter nonsense. Like, this is so not what this is about, or what I thought it was about. I really don't get where that comes from either. Like, I struggle to get my head around those ones. Like, why do you think this is okay? I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the definition of emo, says PG Petch. So emo is a type of music. It has its origins in the 90s. I'm not too familiar with it, but what I understand is that it's sort of like a post-hardcore thing, that the music becomes more emotive in a particular style that garners it this name, emo. And then around the 2000s, it kind of shifted into this very popularized, sort of hot topic, easy to access look, along with the music and the sound of it. And it became just a trend that like a lot of kids identified with and got into, and bands like My Chemical Romance and whatnot. So, yeah, that then became like a big alternative culture thing, but for some reason just didn't integrate with the existing counterculture of that time, or alternative culture, whatever we're calling it. You know, once the counterculture happened in the 60s, like, using that term again just sounds a bit weird. Mutty says, I used to think all humans were bad, then I witnessed the Hermitcraft community on the charity stream and I started believing again. Glad to hear it, my dude. Look, the world every day... Oh my god, someone is an absolute champ. I wanted to put that in here, I will put some in. The world every single day has people doing just the most easy and simplest of goods that go unnoticed. Like being kind to one another in public, you know, helping an old lady cross the street. You know, I know that's like a bit more of a cliched sounding thing, but like really simple things like just being polite to one another outside, saying hello to someone who's walking by. And then like people, when they go to work to do a job, they participate in creating the economy that sustains all the things that make our life easier than it was for our ancestors. Take a historical perspective of like, what was life like 50 years ago, 100, 150, 200? It's all improved in so many measures, and it's because of how most people are just decent and aren't, you know, out there doing terrible things to one another. At the same time, we have a propensity for negativity, where negativity captures our attention, so we talk about it, and we can talk about it without sort of framing it. Like every time you hear about how someone's done something awful on the news, it doesn't come with this caveat of like, and while they were doing that, 99.999% of the population were just being good and decent people on that day. You know? Like, and yeah, there's bad and evil in the world, and we're all capable of it as humans. But there's a lot of good that goes on too. And like the things we were talking about earlier, I'm not being dismissive of, oh, we'll just turn the blind eye to this bad stuff because there's good stuff. But it's like, it's for your personal health. It's for your own perspective and understanding of the world. It's like not to lose sight of the good at the same time, right? Because there is good. Trooper Joe! 41 months! Good to see you, my dude. Hope you're doing well. Fyro Luck is here with the Amazon Prime subscription right there. Peeps, if you did not know, you can use the Amazon Prime to subscribe. If you so wish to. We got Becca gifting a sub to Crapulence 0. What an amazing name. And oh no, now I've read them all out. We had a couple of dings. It reminded me that I hadn't read those in a minute. Timothy says, self-expression and self-identity are always going to be controversial when the expression of someone else doesn't reflect one's own. People seem to always find a way to not get along because someone is different. Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. God, so many ideas popping into my head about this. So many different ways I could go from there. I think we'll go with just something simple. Yeah, like once you realize that, like, and you can see it in yourself, you can change once that idea is there. for me, the thing that's coming to mind is music. Like, I ruled myself out of so much music that I could have enjoyed just because I saw it as being different, right? Like, emo music would be one of those kind of things. Like, if, you know, I'm not particularly, like, looking to seek it out, but if it comes across my path, I'm going to pay a bit more attention than I might have once done, because I told myself I didn't like that. That's not me. Whereas, one of the things I've learned over the years with music is that, like, if you listen to what the artist is trying to express, you don't have to be the same as them. You don't have to want or need, or whatever the words are, what they have. But if you hear their expression, you might find something interesting or something of value there. And that can relate to just people in general. Like, don't see the differences between us as threats, but an opportunity to maybe learn from one another. There we go. That'll take care of that bit when it connects. So I'm also going to put in some things that go up against the wall here. They're originally going to be stone just to connect with that. I think I'll probably Actually, I think it'll make sense just to use more of this mud stuff. Let's take a step back, because yeah, we built a humble, cool little foundation. I feel like it needs some sort of contrast, actually. Yeah, I think I'm going to add like deep slate tile pillars going up or something, because it needs some contrast. Pretty sure. Daily Sandley, thank you ever so much for the Prime subscription. Appreciate you using that on me. Thank you. As an old romantic goth, says Rachel Sommer, we felt our established subculture was being commodified and taken over by something very different with, oh god, with a tangential fashion. Chat just moves so quick all of a sudden. The new romantic goth stuff, like, I'm just fascinated in learning. Like, it's not something that, like, appeals to me in an identity way. Yeah, if I go back to being younger and more ignorant, I probably wouldn't have cared about it, right? But, like, being someone who likes learning about history, watching documentaries, I've watched a few things about the new romantics here and there, and just find it fascinating. But the whole thing about it being taken over, I think, is what happens with a lot of communities, right? Like, you can make those arguments about like the emo thing, if you like, because that was heavily commercialized in the noughties. Tends to just be what happens, I think. Once something can be sort of turned into a product, it likely will. Let's go with this deep slate. I like the idea of using that. And then some walls to sort of attach it. So let's grab that. And then it's this stuff, right, so make a few wall blocks like that, that's what I want. Yeah, why? The last time I was digging into the new romantic stuff, I think I was listening to some of the Cure's early records, probably listening to Killing Joke, which is like a bit adjacent in a way. Oh, there was something else though. There was like a particular band from that era that I was listening to. Oh, I was also, what are they called? Christian Death, listening to a bit of that. Like, all of this stuff sort of a bit adjacent to that scene. And it just made me fascinated about it. Like, oh, I want to learn. Here's an opportunity to learn. And find out about some culture and stuff that happened in our country. Joy Division? Not at the time, but I well and truly know Joy Division. In fact, Joy Division might have been my first sort of band record from that era. Oddly enough, it wasn't their first record. What was it, Something Pleasures? It's the second record, Closer, that really, really, like, got to me. That is such a moody, dark record. And, yeah. Him was a great band at the time, says Yoda. Never got into him. Just, never took them seriously, I think. I don't know, like, I can remember, like, the Pentagram everywhere and, like, having some friends that were into it and stuff, but, like, just being a metalhead or whatever, I probably just heard something and went, not heavy enough, that's not death metal, or whatever. Just had that sort of silly attitude. Where are the wall blocks? They're already here, so Yeah, that looks about right. Oh, I'll put it above my head. I am fascinated by old Nordic ruins and how a symbol can have such an impact on people's lives. Symbols, language, all kinds of shared cultural things have massive impacts on our lives, right? I've never looked too much into Nordic ruins. They're sort of like an accessory to a lot of the Scandinavian music that I listen to. Like you see the imagery and stuff and whatnot. Right, so it's at this level here. See, I know what goes into the build at various stages, and I'm just realising that we're going to need to go grab some blocks again. Blocks that we might not have yet. I know we got a bunch of... Oh, I know where the copper is. Yeah, okay, so I need some copper blocks, basically, and I know where they are. Oh, I tried! Oh, wait, this will still work. Hey, we've been raided by Bob the Gamer Twitch. Bob the Gamer, thank you ever so much for the raid. Welcome all the raiders. Ooh, we're not going to be able to... Hang on, aren't they? They're made 9 by 9. Dang! Look at this inventory, it's not good enough. Short Insomniac, thank you for 10 months. Dadley Sandal, thank you for the Prime. Curls of Doom, thank you for gifting a sub to Bob the Gamer Twitch. Welcome Bob, welcome all the Bob's peeps, that's what you're now officially called apparently. Right, we need a few blocks of this, and that is probably enough. Do you know any jokes, says MG? Probably, but I'm not a like off the top of my head jokes person, if that even makes any sense. So the idea is to have copper blocks around the top here. And then the stone here just needs to be extended down, is the issue. God, have I got my bed on me? I have. Just thinking, it's night time again. It feels... Jeez, the time is just whizzing by, basically, isn't it? Can mobs spawn on mud, says Mr. Knife. Why don't you do a test? Go into a test world and, you know, make it out of mud and find out. K Reaper says, to add to this, your accomplishments will go unnoticed, but as soon as you make mistakes, people tend to call you out. Yep, that's another one. Mr. Exilo says it's difficult for people to put themselves in other person's shoes. The old saying, do unto others, is pretty good standard, I personally think. Yeah, it is. But wanting to put yourselves into other people's shoes. Like, we can all understand the idea of other people have different experiences. But like, where does the desire to learn and know come from? For me, when I was younger, although, you know, I was grown up with ideas, or was raised with ideas like that in the back of my mind, and it does help, but there's like a deeper level to it, where like, yeah, you can get these, you know, treat other people decently because you don't know what it's like to walk a day in their lives, but also like, what about the curiosity? When do you become more curious about it? Because I did. I became massively curious about, I don't know, all sorts of things, really. If there's something to be learned, there's a chance I could be curious about it. Yeah, I don't really need to fill that in. So yeah, basically, that's this bit. And then all this stone here, Pearl will come along and turn into something that looks way better at some point. And we'll leave that right there for now. We have sub goals. Since when, says Banyan? Since 2 streams ago, I think. Basically, I was paying some attention to my metrics, my numbers and whatever for Twitch, and I kind of noticed that my subscriptions have sort of fallen wayside from my average views. Now, in the past, it's not something that I've really cared too much about. I appreciate all the support and whatnot, but like at the moment, my ambitions are to try and build out a team of people to help me make content. I want to grow the Xisuma Says channel into something that... I mean, you know, I'll start with simple things, like just making videos about stuff that I'm interested in, but like, I kind of want it to, you know, have a sort of like impact or really provide something of value at some point. And anyway, yeah, getting together a team to be able to make content over there is kind of it. And so I've been hiring a lot of people lately and putting a lot of money into certain projects and jobs or whatever, and it's just made me more conscious, dang it, of money and whatnot. And so, whoa, so I was looking at Twitch, and you know, I'm gonna keep doing this. Dang it, the skulk is everywhere. I'm gonna keep doing this regardless because I love streaming. But in terms of like putting my time into this compared to other things, it was kind of like, yeah, my numbers sort of over the last 3 to 4 months kind of slipped, and I was looking at them and I thought, you know what, I'll put the sub goal on stream and see what happens, that kind of thing, right? Speaking of subscribing, 6xam and Cluban have subscribed. Thank you so much, appreciate it. So yeah, you know, I'll still be here doing my thing regardless of where the subs are at. But I just thought hey, maybe it incentivizes people to consider subscribing or whatever. How long did it take to build? Says MG469. I mean, this that we're building right now, I don't know how I could quantify it. It has just been non-stop building by myself and many other people. You're at 9999 subs. Yes, we are, and people are subscribing. I guess it's doing its thing then. The Cheester, thank you for 2 months. Rofo Rex, thank you for 7. Becca's gifting a sub to FRX Prince, appreciate ya. PG Petch, 11 months. Twitch subscription is not a continuous thing for me, but happy to be back. Appreciate it, my dude, appreciate it. Thank you for resubscribing. Oh, it feels... No, that's just the 2 support beams. Yeah, okay, there we go. Thought I was doing that wrong for a second. Nick the Gooner, thank you for subscribing as well with the Amazon Prime. Appreciate it. And I believe that means we have reached our sub goal. And I don't know what happens after that point. I hadn't thought that far ahead. I just put it on the screen. I just figured out how you get that information there and put it there. I mean, maybe we could do a rewards thing. I don't know. Do you have a YouTube, says MG4969? I do, and that is my primary thing that I do on the internet. xisumavoid on YouTube. Never understood the huge gatekeeping community in the music genres, says Dummy. Me neither, and I used to be a bit of a musical elitist about certain things here and there too. And it's just a naive way of thinking and seeing the world. I think it revolves a lot around identity. I think it's really easy when you're a part of a community to attach identity to it. Which is, like, what I'm saying, I think, potentially overlaps with identity politics in a really interesting way, like, of asking, like, what is identity and what does it mean? Because these days, I don't really, like, identify with much, other than maybe curiosity. Like, and being curious about the world. I don't know, but like back then it was like, oh, I'm a metalhead and die hard about this stuff, and you know, screw all that emo music or whatever. Like, that's not metal. And it's just like, this is such a ridiculous attitude, but it's something to do with, like, I don't know, feeling like you're a part of something, like you belong, or your identity. It's really weird psychologically, and I don't need that anymore. And in not needing that, you realize how ridiculous it was. Going back to like the emo thing though, which is what we started talking about, and just thinking back on it, it was awful. Like, and yeah, DeChista says, may I ask what made people hate emo so much? I don't know. I just think maybe something about the flavour of what emo is just kind of rubbed the existing alternative communities the wrong way. But then again, you know, there were similar things. So my generation had nu metal, and nu metal was absolutely outcasted by the existing metal community. And these days, the current metal community is now full of 30 to 40 year olds that you know, loved nu metal, and so now the nu metal bands are kind of like part of the legacy, and it's just weird how all this stuff happens. Right, I need to drink some more water here. Anarchiliv says, gosh, I love nu metal so much. I loved it at the time. Then when it sort of fell out of favour, I didn't listen to it as much. And then I've sort of come back round to loving it in a kind of a bittersweet sort of way. I still feel like there's a lot of that stuff I can listen to where the downtrodden mood of the music can be quite difficult, but that's probably because I listened to it at a really rough time. Like, for years I couldn't listen to Korn's Untouchable record. It was just like too unbearable because of all the memories that were attached to it. But like, I really sort of love and appreciate that it was something that I was into. That just the moody nature of it makes it a little difficult to consume from time to time. I've been listening to Mudvayne though recently, and I did not realize how, like, they're sort of like the, maybe you could call them the Tool of nu metal. I did not realize like how more intelligent their music was compared to a lot of the other nu metal. Like, you hear it on LD50, and then on the follow-up record it gets even more sort of progressive sounding. Like, you got all these odd time signatures and interesting musical arrangements that are just sort of like nu metal, but way more interesting than the generic nu metal riff. And yeah, right, that is a nice old bit of contrast there. Some pillars to hold that thing up. Yeah, it don't quite align, but that's kind of some of the fun of it. What I've got to say though is it lacks a bit of shape or a bit of uniqueness, and I think I know how to give it a bit of that. We're going to need more of this cobbled deep slate. We're going to need some iron bars, I think. Hey, Poster Nerd is here for 9 months. Thank you, Poster Nerd. Appreciate it. That's a Twitch baby. I'll get to press that magical button. We also got Jub406 here at the Prime. Appreciate it. Thank you. There are a few bands that I really wish I could listen to more, but like yourself, there are far too many memories attached to those teenage angst years, says Rofo Rex. Yeah, and you know, you just got to take your mental health into consideration with that stuff, right? Like, you know yourself best. Maybe there are occasions when you can dive in a little, and sometimes it's better just to stay away. Hey, it's gonna buy some pumpkins from you. Sure thing, Pixel. I mean, I didn't know that we sell stuff as an empire, but I see there'll be no harm in helping out Pixel, right? That looks really cool. Just need to find a few more spots to put something like that. Like, down at the base makes a lot of sense, because it's like... yeah, and then we'll put a few more here and there up. 1 diamond! I feel like there was a very memeable answer there. What? Oh, it's what's it? Mini-Me or whatever. That movie. $1 million or something. Like I could have said. 1 million. I should have demanded payment in derp coin. 1 million derp coin. Then Pix might have like been, X, are you okay? What are you on about? You alright? Austin Powers, that's the one. You know what, like Austin Powers, not really like a movie I remember that favourably. Like some people love it, but definitely has some funny moments in it. Oh yeah, actually at the top here it looked good like that, wouldn't it? And then on this side, let's just go for that. Again, always do a little step back. Yeah, that's much nicer. It just totally changes the shape up. Really cool. I never saw Austin Powers, says Lucro. I wouldn't consider it essential to watch, but some people might disagree with me. Where I've been watching The Crown on Netflix recently, and getting all these reminders of like, you know, people in the 90s, like figures and things that happened. Man, the times do change. Like stuff that at one point in time feels like that'll never be forgotten. It can all be forgotten. You know, I grew up with like Michael Jackson being just like probably the most famous person on earth, right? That everyone knew about, and like with time, memory fades. Our shared memories fade. Like everyone growing up at my age, as a kid or whatever, would have known his music. But then today, maybe not. You know, it might come a time where some kids just grow up not ever really hearing it. Nice. How have you found the latest season of The Crown? I'm not sure it's quite as good as the others, says Nick Laguna. I think I've only got 2 episodes left, and it picks up a little bit, but then some episodes really kind of like wobble. My issue with it is it's had less historical significance and more. It's turned into more of a drama where you can tell like a lot of the, pretty much most of the dialogue, I imagine, is like fabricated, and it's dealing with some very sensitive topics, and it just feels like it's lost its charm to some extent. Like it's lost the thing that made it so incredible initially, and you're sort of dealing with the remnants, right? Shows have this problem, like they become a thing and then they keep delivering that thing and it loses the charm. I felt like that's happened with Rick and Morty a bit. Rick and Morty's sort of like, I go back and watch the first episodes and I crack up, and like these new ones are sort of comical and funny, but you kind of know what sort of jokes they're going to give you, and it's a little more, I guess you could say, predictable or something. Yeah, it just tends to happen with shows as they go on, right? Like the impact of something being new and fresh and different just kind of can fade, and I don't think that's what's happened with The Crown. I really do think it's a case of like the material that they're using is now into the sort of tabloid drama era of things, and less about big historical events, and it's dealing with some very, I don't know, touchy subjects or whatever. And I don't think they're like handling it bad or anything. It's just the fact that all these dialogues between characters are basically fiction. Like so much more of what the show focused on in the past felt historical, and now it feels dramatized and fictional. And yeah, that's kind of like the big shift this season. There was a little bit of it last season. Pretty much since it like Diana's come into the story, it's clearly had to shift into the drama around her, and therefore becomes more like a drama, right? And more fictionalized. But yeah, this season is like really sort of leaning into her story, and therefore it's really fictionalized. Have you seen the new crate server Tango started? It's quite a good watch. Yeah, I've obviously seen that they're doing that. I haven't watched any of it, but dang, like the crate mod is such a cool mod. I hope to like play with that one day. In fact, I feel like I'm gearing towards doing something modded next year. Like having a bit of a plan to do something like that. Ooh. Actually, no, that's not what we want. We want the unmaxed stuff. So I might end up playing a bit of Create myself at some point. My plan would be, and it's tricky to do this, but I really want to play something like Create in a survival environment, but with like a bit more of the freedom of creative. And I don't quite know how you achieve that. Like, what is that? Oh, I see. I don't know quite how you achieve this balance of getting survival Minecraft to be sort of easier, less grindy, right? Without it feeling like creative mode. Ha! There's a way. Also, did I hear a drowned? Again! Ah! What are you holding? Potato? What do you hold? Oh, you got honeycomb. Yeah, Scar, bless him, attached this whole thing up and didn't actually set up a filter. So for a long time, his farms were just like not producing anything. Yeah, so that stuff goes around like that. Let's go hop down here. Oh, and now I pick up all of the sugarcane that just endlessly goes around. So somewhere over here, maybe it was on the opposite side. Dang it. Well, anyway, I think it's these two. Yeah. Now we're actually collecting the stuff. You could always get quarries added so that it isn't too grindy, says Roforex. That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I need to think about what if I were to play it, what would the focus be? Because I've been feeling like a lot of inspiration to focus on building. And so building is gather and then build, right? What I want to do is engineer contraptions and build. And so if I can create a pack where you're given more materials through engineering, i.e. there's a farm for everything, then that might be really cool. Also, when you do that stuff in a mod pack, it's a very different playstyle to what Create offers. So like, it would be cool if Create could offer that in a Create kind of way. Like, I really need to look into the, oh god, this sculpt stuff, the mod pack more to figure this stuff out better, really. So what we want to do, I think, is go up here. I want to get rid of this ice stuff. So I want to put some blocks across there. I can't quite remember what happens at this level, you see. We're sort of dipping into, like, territory where I need to... do you know what? I could fire up my Minecraft to go have a look. Y'all don't need to see it. I don't want to spoil anything, right? Because we've all been figuring out, like, how this build's going to work. And everyone does their own little bit, and everything's going to get spoiled all of the time, you know? Like, every time you log on, it's going to look different. But I kind of don't want to mess any of this up, essentially. But I can always fire up another Minecraft and go look, so I think I'll do that. So yeah, I've realised something here, which is that we don't even need that ice. So that's all I needed to do, really. And then on the other side, someone went and added ice, which we don't need, so I need to modify that one. Anyway, I'm going to go check on the other Minecraft while y'all look at my inventory screen. Eleanor T, thank you for 50 months. Appreciate you, thank you. Wait, where did I... I just logged into the other server and confused myself. What could I do here? Because I could do a little bit of this building. And that side's a bit wonky. I think I'm going to leave my other Minecraft on the screen, so I can start doing a little bit of this. It will make it harder to do the noises in the air, because this actually doesn't go as far as this, I've just learned. I need some very specific blocks for what we're doing next. That will make some of them. Oops. That was just genius, that was. Right, so somewhere around here. Just trying to get my bearings a little bit. It's sort of... There's going to be andesite here, then there's a gap. So this is going to be iron. It don't look right though. Oh, that's because there isn't one there. And then we need polished andesite, which I'm pretty sure I got somewhere in here. That's going to go all the way under here. And all the way to the back where the stone is. Did I get rid of the stone, or did I... Oh, well, I've got some here, that's fine. Ah, this is always annoying when you want to place like one block under something, right? You can't quite get there. Super annoying. Here we go. Like that. Awkward Mutt says, haven't caught a stream in a very long time, so very exciting to watch you again. Awesome, glad to have you with us. We're playing on the Empire server. And we're kind of making things happen. Right, then I'm going to need tough blocks. So we need some tough. It'll be somewhere in here. I'm going to have to have a good old sort of all of this stuff later on, Ah! Terrifying noises. Who's fighting a wither? Pixel Rift, or Mythical Sausage, actually. Didn't notice Mythical logged on. What's the difference between Empire and Hermitcraft, says Slay? Well, Empires is a, you know, just a different server with different people playing on it. And, you know, we went through the rift and ended up here. Right, so you can see how this is all coming together now, can't you? So this thing goes across. And we put more of this in place. There's actually a gap here, I'm not sure entirely why, but we'll leave it. Now it kind of looks... Oh, I'm building it... That's why there's a gap, because I'm building it wrong. That makes total sense now. Dang it. It's because that goes there. That makes so much more sense. Let's just build out all of this down by one, because all of that needs to be done. And none of this needs to be here. The Hermits have built more empires in a few weeks than Jimmy has in months. Well, Jimmy would be one person and we would be, what, 13 of us or something came through? So, kind of makes sense really, doesn't it? Kind of makes sense. Also, that sugarcane farm really needs an off switch. That is where tough goes, and then we're out of tough, so we need some more. Surely I have some more. Surely don't call me Shirley. I might not actually have any more tough. And I went underground mining for some, instant mining it a while ago, and I got loads, and now we need it all for this area. I guess I'll break this wall then. Breaking the wall, breaking the wall, wow wow. Breaking the wall. Yay! There's lots of tough. Very good. Also, Jimmy is in fact a toy and cannot build anything. Well, there you go. Toys can't build, so that ends that discussion. Oh! Up here we go. Curl says this song can just be used for anything. It's a bit of a vaporwave track. I don't know that it can be used for anything, but it's certainly just a peaceful, nice old song. Right. So, more of the andesite, which I don't seem to have. This stuff. We've got a noise in the air. Hi Caps, thank you ever so much for using your Amazon Prime subscription. Appreciate ya. Hope you're enjoying the stream and having a good time. Thank you. Yeah, let's bring that Minecraft back up. Reminder to promote your mailing list if you want to do that again. Lucro, thank you. Yeah. Peeps, with all that's happening in the world with Twitter and social media and things changing 1 minute to the next, I do have a mailing list. So, if ever something is to happen with Twitter going down, I might not be able to see all the beautiful fan art again or something. Like was I supposed to bring this down another block again? No. Long story short, you know, if you want to stay in touch outside one of these social media platforms, I have a mailing list. You'll get an email from me once a week, a recap of all the things that I've been up to, and sometimes a personalized message with that. You can go to xisumavoid.com, and over there you can... I can't finish the sentence, gosh. You can sign up. You can do it on the screen on the left-hand side. You just put in your email address, and then you can unsubscribe later on if you want to too. So I'm just looking at the other window, and it's like, oh, hang on, something's changed here. I might not be doing this right. What I need is that, and then this. Do I already have some lying around? Probably. So here it's like 1, 2, 3, multiple times. And then you have the tough block going across. Then you have your polished andesite. Yeah, and so that goes through to there. Right, so I can kind of see where I'm at now. That's good. Because what happens here... just double check again. So that comes out, and then after that, it's a bit different. There's like a wall here. That's for 2 blocks, then the next bit is for 2 blocks. Take that. So like it goes there. And then actually that's for 3 blocks because tough goes like this. And then it comes back again, it comes in by 1 for 2 blocks. Right, so we need more iron now. Ironically, the iron comes through right there. Hey, there's 2 things that we want here. Iron and trapdoors. Make more trapdoors. Right, we've got a noise in the ear. Let's have a little read over here. It is Bob Martin for 8 months, and also Xisuma for 4 months, and the Big Spud 69 with the Prime. And Stefan RBK 35 months right there. Did I miss the Mumbo prank again? You did. Oh, Mumbo came onto Empires and the prank was legendary. I hear some people are still talking about it to this day. All these many minutes later. Gosh. What a legendary thing that was, eh? So here's actually where the copper stops. And you got 1, 2, 3 like that. Polished andesite over here. Am I looking at this correctly? Something isn't aligning. Oh, I see what's going on. So you have that there, yeah. Still that? No, that's correct. I'm looking at it wrong. That's what I'm doing. Cool. Right, it's around here that we want those walls too. Engine Magic says Mumbo got on. Yeah, Mumbo came on and he hung out with us and he was chatting. And we played this incredible prank on him. You can ask the people in chat about the incredible prank, how much they thought of it. They'll probably struggle to describe it. It's one of those ones that if you weren't here, it won't make sense. Like, it's hard to describe why, but, you know, if you missed it, well, sorry, it's such a legendary moment in Minecraft and Hermitcraft history. Frogs were involved, says Carrier Lugs. Yeah, frogs were involved, but in a sort of like abstract 4th dimensional way. It's very, very difficult to explain this stuff after it's happened, you know. That's why our pranks, our Mumbo pranks, are so legendary. Okay, so then you got that, and then the stone continues, and you have a polished bit there, and then this is where these things come in. Right, I'm going to have to do a fair bit of work here. I need to go grab some more stone. Find my ways down. Into the storage area. What VOD is that from, says Faceless Clouds? It's from this VOD, which isn't on the internet yet because we're still doing this live stream. Pinch some out of here. I don't think anyone managed to clip it, says H-Show Tom. It happened so fast, you know. You know what, I'm probably going to cut it from my VOD as well. I think I might not include it. What do you think, peeps? Okay, this next bit is... it was confusing until I looked again at what we've got to do. Yeah, best move, says Amelia Nort. Yeah, that's a good point. I should probably just cut it from the VOD. Otherwise, you know, otherwise it might break the internet if lots of people come like trying to figure out how we did that. And I wouldn't want to put that on YouTube, you know. Their servers, they get a lot of traffic as it is. They don't need to see that 4th dimensionary frog prank on Mumbo again. VOD corrupted, no doubt it was so epic. Yeah, there's also the risk of the VOD corrupting. Good point. Okay, let's go over here and hook up this next bit. Right, and then after that you have like a gap again. So then that thing comes down here, I see. You can hear the skulk sensor and zombies moaning and All sorts. Oh! Ah, no, I see. Okay. Just got to place these slightly different now. I don't know if these stone blocks were put here because, like... I'm going to just leave it like that for now, I think. I don't know if these stone blocks were put here as a placeholder, but it actually looks really good with just stone. Oh, I missed! Now I'm up here! There we go, there we go. Right, it's like that, except, where is the one there? It's here. Whoops. Also got to put some iron bar on top. You know what, I don't know why I didn't think of doing this, like, earlier. When I was looking at things to build, it was all like... I don't want to spoil anything, but I can just, like, build off the other screen that I'm not showing you. That's always an option. Do I have a dark block that I could put in that place? Let's go sleep and see if we've got one in those shulker boxes. Where's my bed? It's over here. Can we get a free cam look, says Jimmy? Yeah, we'll probably do that real soon. Just finish up putting down a couple of blocks first. I feel like yeah, no, do you know what? It's probably in my ender chest. There's probably another one. Yep, there you go. And in here, you got that. So we need one of those over there. I also need those iron bars. Right, I'm going to reposition my other camera account thing, whatever we're calling it. I'm going to need more iron trapdoors, a lot more. Let's go get some more iron. There's always plenty of it about. And then I need iron bars too. I've still got a golden carrot to eat, haven't I? I know I had some iron bars earlier. Where are they? Oh, there they are. And we got a noise in the ear. What is it here? Who could it be? It is Falx 1011 with the 8 months. And G staff for 81 months. That's Evil X right there. 9 babies. Golly gosh. 9 of them. 9 of them. What are those? 9 tuplets. That's what they call it, isn't it? They definitely call it 9 tuplets. Good one, Brain, good one. They'll never know the difference. Loving this multi-hermit craft superstructure, says Major Often. Yeah, I'm loving it too. It reminds me a little bit of like the build battle of Season 6. Right, let's get my camera thing back on the other screen. So when we get to here, there's actually more of that structure. We'll probably leave it there for today. But then all along here, it's really just this stone stuff next, I think. Why does that not look right? I see why it doesn't look right, because it's not. These are all too deep. The build battle was such a good memory, it was, wasn't it? Good times, good times. Yeah, so essentially all of this gets built up like so. And then at this level it comes across. And we've got more noises in the air. Well, I can minimise that for a minute. It is PinkGirl5704. Thank you ever so much for subscribing and making me talk really weird. That's your fault that I am now talking like this. Thank you for the subscription. Oh. This is what happens when I get deep into the stream. I just start to give up on my grace, on my presentation, my ability to articulate. I'm like, silly voices now. That'll get me through. That'll get me through. Right, yeah, look at that. Bam. Lovely. Oh, it's still the sugarcane. Right, so, with that done... Oh yeah, iron bars. Like, there's still little things I could be doing here and there. I kind of wonder if we could pivot in a different direction from building for a bit of this stream too. See, I knew something was different there. I'm here for the silly voices, lol, says Cage and well, you got some silliness. Thank goodness for some silliness. Me wants tea, X sips tea, me not tea in house, says the penguin girl. I can give you some water drinking, some hydration. Hydrate, peeps! Drink some water right now. Love it. Commodus 5 says, my brain auto-reverts to a British accent. I'm not the best at speaking out loud, but when I was younger, putting on a British accent made it easier. Still do it to this day as an adult. It confuses people a lot. Well, it depends like where you're from and where you're at, right? Like if you're from the States and you're in the UK and you talk in an American accent and people... I mean, like, what do you mean by confused? Like, I guess, I don't know. Like, I think people understand if you're from somewhere else and therefore you have an accent, right? I mean, I hope people would understand that. Yeah, I'm just going to chuck all this random stuff in. These things have become increasingly more disorganized. There was also some details that I could put on top of these blocks, but for now, I think I'm going to leave it like that. And you know what? We're going to do some free cam here. That's kind of what we did today, like all of that right there. So take a screenshot of that. Wingman5555, thank you for the prime. Appreciate you, my dude. Hope all is good in the hood. Ood says, X, I think I remember in the past you saying you weren't super into telling stories /RP after the Derp Coin story. Was there anything in particular that made you change your mind? Have you changed your mind? I haven't really changed my mind. Storytelling's never really been my strength. I'm just... Again, it's this issue of being adjacent to something. Like, I had issues recently with wanting to, I don't know, like, start a podcast or do this thing and do that thing, and it's like, I keep seeing things adjacent to not to Hermitcraft, sorry, to my, like, space on YouTube and what I do creatively, you know, because I'm not only a YouTuber, I consume YouTube. Unlike Twitch, I may be a Twitch streamer, but I don't watch Twitch streams. So it's like, I see how people do things, like, adjacent to what I'm doing, and it gives me this sense of, I could do that, and, like, it's like I talked earlier about, like, the infinite possibilities and all that kind of stuff. I gotta realise at some point, like, you don't actually want to even do everything, right? It's just, in the moment, it can seem really appealing. And so, in being adjacent to storytelling and stuff, like, it really isn't... Like, I admire it, I think it's terrific. It's really not my thing. It's not my strength. It's also, like, not my primary interest. Like, I kind of noticed you see some overlaps in certain types of, I don't know, content or whatever that people enjoy and do and create. And, like, my interests differ in a different direction. Like, I come to Minecraft, I enjoy a bit of building. I don't see it as a place to tell a story. When my interests differ from what I'm doing here, it goes into things like learning about, like, what's going on in the world, how the world works, learning on all sorts of different topics. Maybe, like, I'm interested in following in, like, computer science, AI, deep learning, some topics that really interest me. None of this stuff, like, that I'm genuinely quite curious about and follow really relates to what I do here. And so, like, the inverse of that is how what I'm doing here, there are things adjacent to it. It's really easy just to sort of get pulled into spaces that aren't really the primary thing you want to do, because you're a creative and you're surrounded by creativity and you understand how creativity works. It's like, if I have to, I can do it. You saw in Season 8, you know, I really pushed myself to do the storytelling thing, and we actually pulled off something that was pretty cool. A lot of people tell me they really enjoyed it, even though I sort of struggled with it and whatnot. But it's not like the primary thing that I want to do. And what I want to do is figure out what I do here that is actually close to other things. What is actually a part of something I can go and do. And for me, that is probably like game development is something I'm really interested in. That I can actually do here as a part of being on Hermitcraft and, you know, being a part of this community and, you know, what's adjacent to it and whatnot. Do we not have one for Ye Old Mangrove? This one's now for Ye Old Mangrove. X, do you have any single player worlds? Only for like experimenting in, not ones that I sort of like play in or whatever. Yeah, trying to just do a little bit of tidying up here, like pick out some important resources and put them into chests. There's just so much random stuff. These ones might be a good idea to put in their corresponding chests. Some of this stuff, though, at this point is barely worth sorting through. Would you ever consider a single-player series, or is it just not up your alley? I mean, I could, but really it's like about balancing what I spend my time with what's successful. Right? So, like... Dang. Oh, not again! Skulk everywhere. I need some food. I haven't gotten any food in a while. It's all dark and dingy in here. Like, it's about balancing my time with... You know, it's not just success and whatnot. It's like, what do I actually want to do? A single player runs the risk, I think, of just becoming a little dull because it's only you that contributes to the world. That can be the charm too, but having played and done so much here on Hermitcraft with other people, this place is just crazy at the moment. It really does feel like single player is a loss compared to playing with others. That's what I wanted, this one here. And then, you know, how much time do I want to dedicate to playing Survival Minecraft? Because Survival Minecraft, very time consuming. And there's, you know, you only got so much time, you've got to figure out what you want to do with it. Because on one level I can be like, oh yeah, I'd love to do a hardcore series. I'd love to do this thing, do that thing. There's so many things you can do that are good and interesting. But you've got to like get focused on, like, what are your strengths? What really works for you? And can you combine those things, right? That's what I've been trying to get my head round as of late, is like figuring out those frequencies and how they translate to what you do as a creator. X, what's your gaming setup? Says Gilo is cool. I don't have a gaming setup. My my room is very much made for like a very clean, minimalist environment. I don't know how to describe it really. I shared pictures of it and stuff before. It's just a very clean office environment for doing this in. I don't have a lot of trinkets or things, I don't know, cultural things or whatever, like, it's all very clean. Right, again, just got stuff here that I don't need on me. Hey X, in college I work at, we are kind of doing research about which flavor we associate with which kind of music. Once we finish, I would like you to take a look at it. Sure, flavor. I don't think I've ever thought of flavor and music going together. Like you use the language, the flavor of music or whatever. But in terms of actual flavor, I've never really associated flavors with music. Like, I'm literally coming up blank on that one. I can't think of anything. How do you keep your workstation clean? I often find myself with stuffs on the table as time goes, like notes, pens, notebooks. I have a very, like, clean as you go attitude towards stuff. So, like, I generally don't leave things lying around unless they're, like, to be dealt with at sort of a nearby date or something. Where's the oak wood one? It's up here now. And then dark oak, put the saplings in. Could really do with planting them and chopping down some more at some point. Someone should make a shulker unloader. The thing is, we're doing everything manually. Like, the shulker unloader would just, what, dump it all into a bunch of chests or something, right? Like, we're just doing sort of manual sorting at this stage. Anyway, I am just trying to, like, condense these things a little bit, like, group them up better. And then put them where others can access them. Because some of these materials I'm sort of done with now. Take out the andesite and then all the stone can go in that one. This one can be a bit of an odds and sods for now. So there's like loads of stuff other people can use just left here and there. Right, that one I'm still working with. I'm going to pack that one away. I think we've got most of those materials in there. That's empty. That's good. Right, then your andesite-y type stuff. Feel like, yeah, we've got 2 of those, so we want all of that in the other one. And then we need 1 for the mangrove one, which is probably this. And all your mangrove stuff's in there. X and Pearl really carrying the hermits and organising the growing chest monster. More Pearl than me. I haven't done this a lot, to be fair. Yeah, we are both like people who like tidying things. You know, speaking on having a tidy home and a tidy desk environment, you know, you can see how it overlaps, right? I find there's a lot of pleasure in just keeping things organised. And sort of, Endorescent Pearl, speaking of which. What else we got here? We've got, like, yeah, occasionally just chuck stuff away because it's like, we've got loads of that in abundance somewhere else, so, like, don't worry about it. Right, copper's over here. Then mangrove, terracotta. Iron goes over here, right? I love the look of the storage barrels and the corresponding blocks placed top or below. Yeah, it's a nice way of doing it, really, isn't it? That should really go in the copper. Yeah. Right, so that I'm gonna tuck away. Let's just make sure we've done this proper. Right, at that point I'll probably just put the other mud into storage. So that'll do me for another building project. See, all the different parts of this build have like different pallets. And so for the bits that I'm working on, you know, it's kind of necessary. So that's like the one other thing I need to keep. But I didn't really, I guess I've got a bit of that sort of stuff over here. Or even the gravel, actually. Yeah, so what ones have we got here? That one. And then this one, excellent. Right, so all of that. Those 2 I'm keeping. Then what have we got left? Basically junk. The iron might be useful for someone, otherwise... Yeah, pretty much just a junk chest. Take out the lighting. The gravel might be useful for someone, and the dirt. And maybe that and that. Oh, and I'll take those. coal ore and the copper ore. And only the mangrove wood, but I'm done. I think I'm done with the mangrovey stuff, so all of that's probably going to end up over here, isn't it? Right, now the question is, do we got one of these for mud somewhere? If you see it, let me know. Ah, we do, look. That's good. Okay, the ores are now over here. Not really sure where we're keeping lights at the moment. Just going to put that up here then. So yeah, the idea of all of this is just like everyone's spending time gathering resources, and sometimes you've got what someone else needs just like in your backpack or whatever. So that's pretty much junk. I'm going to throw that one down just there.
Emergency. Emergency.
2 empty ones.
Emergency. Emergency.
Right, everything here can get unloaded.
Enemy fighters. Prepare.
Enemy fighters, watch out! That's just a junk one, isn't it? And that's just for ender pearls. Pretty good, pretty good. And it's always good to do a little bit of that tidying up, right? Let's just have a look at what we did again. All of that today. Like, across there. All of this bit on the side. Supports up to there. Really good. So, like, do you know what I forgot to do? This ice thing needs sorting out. But, yeah. Like, a lot of this has come along. And, dang. It's looking amazing. What can I say? Looking good, says Hanson, thank you. Gonna play Doom again, says Banian. Probably not, unless they bring out like a new one. I'll probably play the campaign or something. Tried playing their expansions when they came out, but dang, they just felt so kind of repetitive, really, was the problem with them. Anyway, we've reached the end of the stream today, peeps. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who subscribed, resubscribed, donated and cheered. As always, I appreciate your support. Thank you for helping us hit the sub goal as well. That was good to see that passed. We need to go raid someone, right? And I've gotten all confused saying my thank yous. So thank you to anyone I didn't say thank you to if I forgot something. The mods, the patrons, the people gifting subs, y'all are appreciated. And we will go raid Iskal today, who's playing some Vault Hunters. So if you want some modded Minecraft, stick around. Anyway, that's it. Take